Hi, good morning. Uh, as always, there's a little bit of extra stuff I have to do before I can actually get started. Um, and that is because I have an extremely simple setup that I don't have a way to make better right now. Um, Hope everyone is feeling good this morning. Uh, Here in the weird panhandle of Florida, it has been surprisingly cold outside, so that's something. Um, it's obnoxious. So I assumed that if I streamed music from Twitch, then I wouldn't get one of those notices. Uh, but I'm not sure about that, and so I don't know what kind of music I can listen to while I'm streaming. Um, so I guess I'll just figure. Hey, be nice, guys. Sorry, my cats were fighting. I guess I'll just figure it out later. Um, all right. Okay, so as the title implies, we're making pancakes today. Let me adjust the camera again. There we go. All right. Um, there, that's good for now. Someday I'll have a better camera. Not today. So we're making pancakes. First thing we need is a bowl. Or two bowls. And also a sieve. I am using the pancake recipe out of my King Arthur Flour cookbook. Hello. Um, and it is the simple, perfect recipe. Wow, I already have 3 viewers. Incredible. Good morning, everybody. We're making pancakes because they're delicious. So the first thing we have to do is sift together all of our dry ingredients. Um, I feel like my camera is smudged and I don't like it. So hold on a second. I'm sorry about this. Okay, that's better. All right, sorry about that. So the first thing we need to do is sift together our dry ingredients. So we need 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, if anybody watching knows how to navigate streaming music when it comes to like live stream stuff, please let me know because I prefer to be listening to music while I'm doing stuff. But because of copyright bullshit, if I do that, I could get in trouble. And apparently somebody in Congress is trying to make me go to jail if that happens because he is in the pocket of big media. Alright, so that was about a full teaspoon of salt. The recipe just said 3/4 of a teaspoon, but I don't have a 1/4 teaspoon, so I was just like, fuck it. And then I do need 2 full teaspoons of baking powder. Uno, dos. All right, put that over there. So I like to sift my dry ingredients most of the time for things, because it helps incorporate them better, and it also helps incorporate a little bit more air into the dry ingredients, which helps make the resulting whatever more fluffy. And also the flour that I have isn't very high quality because I got it from Sam's Club and it was like a 25-pound bag, and so it is incredibly clumpy. So sifting it also helps get rid of all of them clumps. All right, cool. So there's our dry ingredients. I'm gonna put that right here. I should probably get a bigger bowl for this, but I don't really care. No, this will be fine. Okay, so the weirdest thing about my pancake recipe is that it says 3 tablespoons of melted butter, but everything else that you're mixing together is cold. So when you pour your melted butter in, it immediately solidifies and gets not great. So I'm gonna put the butter in the microwave really quick and then move it to the fridge for another minute. That way it can cool down enough for when I actually need to use it. I should have done that first, but I forgot. And I haven't had any coffee yet today. That was a good catch. You guys didn't see it. I made my coffee. It's over there, but it's still too hot for me to drink. So this is uncaffeinated me. So I usually take a little bit more than 3 tablespoons of butter to melt for this, just to make up for any butter that like might jump out of the little bowl or evaporate. All right. So I'm gonna microwave this until it's melted and then put it in the fridge for a minute. I just opened the microwave and found a cup of coffee from yesterday. I wish I hadn't wasted that coffee creamer. I could have used it today. Okay. Let's see. What else do I need? Okay, that'll be good. Another option for making sure that the butter isn't like molten lava hot is to microwave it until some of it is melted and then mix it together with a fork until the rest of the butter like, you know, melts into the already hot butter, which will bring down the temperature of the whole melty pot. Yeah? Did you hear Peanut meow? Okay, that looks good. I'm gonna leave this right here. So now I need 2 eggs and a 1 1/4 cups of milk. This is the same buttermilk from the biscuits I made a couple weeks ago. I did check to make sure that it had not gone bad. It says it should be bad by now, but I did both a sniff and texture test, and it seems to be fine. And Target only had the expensive eggs, so. Pretty. We need 2 eggs in this. And before I mix the buttermilk in, I'm just going to get these eggs ready to go. And then it is a cup and 1/4 of milk, or 10 ounces. Go ahead and pour that in. This recipe wants me to be using a hand mixer that will make this light and foamy, but that seems silly to me. Oh, I need some vanilla. I forgot the vanilla. I'll be right back. And that was approximately a tablespoon of vanilla. Alright, cool. Put these eggs back in the fridge. And I'm gonna mix in 2 tablespoons of sugar. There it is. 2 tablespoons, right? Yeah. So I have this really bad habit of not getting my cats used to having their claws trimmed when they're small enough for me to do it without them killing me. And so now Peanut has really long claws that he is using to skitter across the floor. And also sometimes accidentally hurt me. But I do not have any kind of way to help change that, because if I try to pin him down and clip his nails, he will eviscerate me. Alright, so that's all mixed in. So now we can just go ahead and add our dry ingredients to this. Oh fuck, I forgot to pour the butter in. I guess we're gonna pour that in at the same time and hope for the best. Welcome to cooking. Sometimes you forget to mix things in at the right time and then you are disappointed in yourself. So one of the things about pancake batter is that you do not necessarily need to mix it until it is completely smooth. If you mixed it until it was completely smooth, then you would overmix it, much like the biscuits from last week. If you mix it too much, then you're going to build up the gluten and then it'll be tough and you'll be sad. Yeah, I should do that too. Okay. So that looks like all of the flour is at least mixed in, even if there are some clumps. The clumps are fine. Alright, cool, cool, cool. Got some pancake batter. Don't need this cookbook anymore. I'm gonna put this pancake batter right over here. Move things around a little bit. There. So I have an electric griddle, and this is basically pancakes is basically the only thing I use this electric griddle for, but it's so good for it. Because you can set the temperature on the side, and you can do so many pancakes at once without them all just like running into each other and making you sad. I'm setting it to 300 degrees, and I'm going to let that heat up for a little bit. Personally, I cannot live on pancakes alone, so most of the time when I'm doing pancakes, I'm also going to do some of those little like vegetarian sausages. These guys. There we go. Because protein is important. As delicious as pancakes are, we cannot live on carbs alone. I wonder if my coffee is cool enough yet. Excellent. All right, so that's heating up pretty nicely. I like to use butter for this because I just think it's tastier. Technically, the butter can burn and not be great, but I think it's too tasty to give up. Okay. So I'm going to start with one pancake because the first pancake is always the worst. I'm also going to get out another stick of butter because I'm going to need more butter for doing this and also putting on top. Put that over there. I have also turned the oven on to the keep warm setting. If your oven doesn't have a keep warm setting, just turn it down as far as it'll go. Because like I've had roommates that would make a bunch of pancake batter and then put it in the fridge and then only make a few pancakes at a time, but I hated it. So I always just do all of my pancake batter at once, and then if I have leftover pancakes, I feel like leftover pancakes are just as good maybe a little bit not as good as fresh pancakes. Um, Spatula. There it is. So when I'm baking cookies or whatever, I always insist on a metal spatula because I think they get the cookies off of like the counter a lot better, but also off of the tray a lot better because since it's a lot thinner, it can really slide underneath of that cookie without like destroying the whole cookie. But when you're using any kind of non-stick surface, you want to use as little like scratchy stuff as possible, and that's what the plastic is for. Okay. So now it's the waiting part of this. You don't want to get too impatient. So I was streaming the other day. I was streaming video games on Thursday, and I went to bite a cookie, and then it crunched really weird in a way that it shouldn't have. And I was like, oh, that was weird. I guess my friends who made these cookies must have accidentally gotten some eggshell in it, and it only got in this particular cookie. Alright, fine. And then I ate the rest of the cookie without too much trouble. And then a little while later, I was eating some fruit snacks. And then another thing crunched really weird in my mouth. And I was like, okay, a fruit snack should not be this crunchy. And so I spit the whole thing out into my hand to see what the fuck was going on. And it turned out that it wasn't like a weird crunchy thing in the food that I was eating. It was that the crown of my tooth had broken. And I was crunching on that. Also, you know the pancake is ready to flip when the outside edges are starting to look kind of solid and there's bubbles everywhere. So, flippable. That actually is probably the best first pancake I've ever made. So yeah, that happened the other day, and then yesterday I made a dentist appointment to be like, hey, my crown broke, but they can't get me in to fix it until January. And like, it doesn't hurt at all, it just feels really weird because, you know, my mouth knows that there's supposed to be something there, and now there's not. So it's just kind of less than ideal. Ooh, these are burning. Motherfucker, flip over. Alright. Please don't set off my fire alarm. Okay. Now one thing that you should definitely make some pancakes. One thing that I have trouble with is making sure that they're actually done in the middle. So I like to press down on them with my spatula, and then if they feel like cake, then they're ready to go. I also will occasionally stab them with a fork and see if they're still gooey inside, but usually you can press on them and tell. The bottom of this one is still a little bit pale, so I'm gonna let it cook for a little bit longer. But I'm gonna pour some more pancake batter up on this bitch. Alright, that's good. I have a prepared pan for my done pancakes because I refuse to eat until everything is cooked. So this is going to go in the oven that I have set to my warming temperature, Like I said, if your oven doesn't have a warming temperature, then just set it to the lowest possible setting. And then just let it hang out until you're ready to go. I also turned the temperature on my sausages way down, that way they wouldn't burn anymore. The biggest reason I'm concerned about burnt food is less because of the burning and more because the smoke alarms in my house are really sensitive and like they're all connected to each other. So if one starts going off, all of them start going off, which is technically a lot safer because if it's in the middle of the night and a fire alarm goes off on one side of the house, everybody knows. Really important. Unless you're me and you're sensitive to loud noises, and if your fire alarm goes off, you're gonna have a sensory overload and not be able to function for the rest of the day. So I'm just really careful about that. Luckily, it doesn't happen very often because since the first time it happened, I've been much more careful about it, but every once in a while it surprises me. I would much prefer that. Ours are just, and the other thing about like, so okay, technically it's much safer for all of them to be connected together, but also all of them are so fucking loud that like anyone from anywhere in the house is gonna hear one of them going off. So the fact that when one of them goes off, they all go off is ridiculous. I hate it. And I freaked my roommate out because after the first time that all of them went off at once, I took a whole bunch of them off the ceiling because I was like, we don't need all of these. Kit Kat, that's not for you. And she's like, but what if a fire happens in that area? And you know what? She wasn't wrong. But like, I don't know. I feel like the two most likely places for a fire to happen would be in the kitchen, which is where I left a fire alarm, and in the bathrooms in case of like, you know, a hair dryer thing or whatever. So I left them near that too. But I took a bunch of the other ones down because I was like, this is my house and I don't want to suffer. Things are just too loud and I just don't want to deal with it. Technically unsafe? Yeah. I don't care. It'll be fine. At some point, Tim and I are going to look into installing different kinds of fire alarms. Just to make sure that we have some that are a little bit easier on my senses. That way I can put all of them up without being concerned about it. Pancakins. Excellent. So I'm gonna have to break out the other stick of butter here in a minute. So my husband is coming home soon, which is incredibly exciting because he's been gone for a long time. And as much as I don't want to say that he doesn't care, but as much as I know that he is unconcerned about how clean the house is when he gets home, I still feel like I need to clean things up because if it's just been me here for 4 months, like if the house is dirty, what the fuck have I been doing with all that time? Especially since I'm not working right now. Um, so a couple days ago, I swept and mopped the whole like kitchen, living room, dining room area because that's basically all one big room. Um, and then another day, I worked on getting his desk all cleaned off. That way, when he gets back, he has someplace to put his laptop and, do video game stuff. And I also got one of the spare rooms a lot more cleaned up. That way, we can actually use it for what we wanted to when we bought this house. Um, the last big thing I want to do before he gets home is get the bathroom cleaned up because that room really gets neglected a lot more than it should. Um, this time, yeah. But I just cut that piece of butter off of the stick and it fell directly on the floor. All right, good morning. Let's just leave that there. This is fine. So I'm making these pancakes a little bit bigger than I usually do. So I've only made about 5 pancakes, which is fine because they're all for me anyway. I'm the only one here. I don't have to share these with anybody. Which is fine because my husband doesn't. So if Tim was home, pancakes are not really his favorite breakfast. Because they are too sweet, which makes me sad because I love pancakes. But like, if I want us to enjoy breakfast together, I need to make something that he actually likes. So I end up not making them unless it's just me here, or if I can think of a different kind of pancake to make, or if I have other friends over and I get to make breakfast slash brunch for them. Mostly I'm making pancakes this morning because I wanted to use up some more of that buttermilk before it went completely bad. I usually will make 3 medium-sized pancakes at a time, but I have noticed that the middle part of this skillet doesn't cook very evenly. So since I'm the only one here, I just opted to do some larger pancakes. My sausages are all done. They've been done for a little while. I turned the heat off on them. But yeah, so I have to clean up my bathroom before Tim gets home, which shouldn't be too hard because I've got a few days. But my bathroom is really big, and because of the way that my parents acted about like the chores that we had to do, I feel like I have to do everything at once rather than break up the bathroom into like a multi-day smaller task thing. Which is frustrating. So I'm gonna have to dedicate myself to cleaning up the bathroom. Either today or tomorrow. I could probably do it tomorrow. It might be easier to do it tomorrow because I also have to work out today. Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays are my workout days. And if I work out and try to clean up the bathroom, then the shower will either I'll have to clean up the bathroom before I work out, which I guess I could technically do. Um, but that's just me working a lot harder earlier in the day than I actually want to. Uh, or I could clean up the bathroom after I work out, um, which would mean that the shower would be all wet already, um, and that would be less than ideal for cleaning purposes. Mostly it would be less than ideal because the floor of my shower is just very slightly uneven. There are some of the corners that go down a little bit, so just a little bit of stagnant water ends up hanging out over there, and it's kind of gross. And I don't know how to fix it. So if I take a shower before I clean up the bathroom, there will be some extra water, oh well, hanging out over there that I'll have to deal with. I don't want to do that. It's one of the many very strange things about this house that I don't know how to fix. Kit Kat, what are you doing? What are you eating? She's fine. Little baby pancake. I've also been playing so much Hades lately, and it is so good. I've never really been into a roguelike game before. I didn't even really know what that meant until somewhat recently. But generally in games where I die a lot, I get really frustrated. But this one is just so good, and like the fact that you're gonna die a lot is incorporated into the story and the way that you talk to other characters, and it's really neat. And the characters are all so good, and the designs are so good, and even when you're playing on like the easy mode, winning still feels really great. I've beaten Hades the God often enough that part of me wants to turn off the easy mode, but I also know that as soon as I do, I'm gonna get fucking wrecked. And I don't want to do that. I'm also really excited because I know that Tim already really likes roguelike games. So I'm really happy I bought this because it means he'll be able to play it when he gets home, and he will also be enamored with it because it's really fucking good. And he'll probably not play it on easy mode. He'll probably make it as difficult as possible for himself as early as possible because that's just the kind of person he is. Alright. These are some fucking pancakes. I don't know what it is exactly about buttermilk pancakes that makes them so much better than regular pancakes, but they really are. The trouble is that usually there is not much of a reason to go out of your way to buy buttermilk. Okay, I'm gonna put this butter back in the fridge and not burn myself. I have some real ass maple syrup here because it's delicious. And here we have a very excellent breakfast of some pancakes and sausages. Let me do something with the camera really quick. Hey, so thank you for hanging out while I made pancakes. It was super fun, and I'm really excited about eating these pancakes, and I'm glad to have inspired you to make your own pancakes. I'm gonna eat this breakfast because I'm really hungry and I need to take my medication. So have a good day. I love you. Bye.